So let's start on the sportsbook side of things. First base is a run line or money line bet that you like. Matt, where are you going for this one?
I feel like I'm stealing Erik's pick here, potentially with the Angels, because he's been a big fan of Patrick Sandoval for the last couple weeks. But that's the bet that I think is the most appealing. So I don't think Sandoval is a great pitcher. I think he's a solid one. And he's benefited in large part from a pretty easy schedule. The last two starts out, he's had tougher matchups with the new look A's and with the Dodgers, but he actually fared kind of well in those matchups. But this is more about Zach Greinke just not being that good of a pitcher at this point in his career. And the Astros are not at full strength lineup-wise. Alex Bregman's still out. The back end of that order is just not very good. So I kind of think the Angels should be favored against the Astros at home with Sandoval going against Greinke with the pitching advantage. My one concern here is if Shohei Ohtani doesn't play because he started last night's game. So he got a few at-bats and was the starting pitcher. If they give him the night off, then that would change things for sure. But as long as Ohtani plays, I think the Angels are in an undervalued spot for this game.
Erik, did Matt steal your pick?
Well, I'm glad to see my Patrick Sandoval love is getting noticed. That was actually my second favorite bet on the slate, so I'm fully on board with Matt on that one. But it's slightly behind the Rangers, plus 145 over the Athletics. The Rangers, they can't hit, that's true. They do have the worst lineup here. That's why they're the underdogs. But plus 145, I think, is too long odds, given the gap between the two pitchers. I think Dane Dunning, I don't like him as much as I like Patrick Sandoval, but there's something there with him. 4.07 ERA, but most of the ERA estimators have him close to a half run better than that. Just a hair under league average in his strikeout rate and right about league average in his walk rate, which is nothing special. But when you combine that with a 55.7% ground ball rate, that is a way to be a successful mid-rotation starter in this league. And I think he should be able to do that in most of his outings. He's got a 2.70 ERA over his last 6 starts, so things have been working out pretty well for him lately. Cole Irvin, on the other hand, has a 3.45 ERA, but he's gotten there through a formula that basically doesn't work at a sustainable way in the major leagues. Most of the ERA estimators have him well over a run worse than that. He doesn't walk anybody, just a 4.4% walk rate, but that's kind of all he does. His strikeout rate of 17.4% is well below league average, which you can make work if you keep the ball on the ground, but he doesn't do that either. He's actually a fly ball pitcher with a ground ball rate of just 35.9%. So given how much more I like Dunning than Irving, I think that makes the Rangers my favorite upset, just slightly ahead of the Angels here.
All right, Paul, what about you? A run line or money line bet that you like on today's slate?
I'll give you 2 on the money line, and it's because of the pitching matchups in both cases. I'll take the Tigers at home over the Indians at plus 100 on the strength of their 7-3 record over the last 10. Cleveland is 3-7. Zach Plesac has had trouble serving up the long ball lately. 13 allowed in his last 57 innings pitched. He got roughed up by the Tigers in his last start, allowing 5 runs, 4 of them earned in only 4 innings. Meanwhile, Tyler Alexander is getting stretched out over his last 5 appearances, 4 of which have been pretty decent, especially his last one, where he blanked the Indians 5 1/3 innings while striking out 4 and not walking the batter. In my second pick, I've been bashing the D-backs all year, so I'm going to be nice to D-backs fans today and throw them a bone, saying I'll take them to get another bite out of the Padres after the beatdown they laid on them last night. That's 2 straight lopsided losses for the visitors. And they'll face Madison Bumgarner, who's looked the vintage version of himself over the last 5 starts that he's made, allowing a total of 10 earned runs over his last 39 innings pitched, striking out 20 and walking 4. Meanwhile, his mound opponent Blake Snell has had a serious issue with control over his last 10 starts, walking 30 and allowing 45 hits for a whip of 152. Take the home side for plus 145.